Hi, I'm Mike Lardy,
I'm Daniel Mears.
and today's video is about real multiplication. So in the last two videos, Daniel and I have been sharing with you what discipleship really looks like, and so we did that through talking about what real teaching is. We talked about what real authenticity is, and today we're going to talk about how disciples multiply, or what real multiplication in churches actually looks like. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to bring players into the game. You know that players really can't do a whole lot if they're just sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
That in order to get better, they need to get in practice and need to get in the game. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about how that works, getting players into the game.
One of the things when I coach Little League with Bradley's team is that it's so easy for me to want to only play the players that are experienced and have already learned the game so that our team can win. But what I've learned over several seasons of coaching is that one of the most important things I can do for the team as a whole, but also for the kids as individuals, is to actually get them in the game and let them play, even though it might cost us a victory. And we actually see that modeled in Jesus' life. In Jesus' life, he was very intentional about getting his disciples involved in the game. Two particular stories to think of. First of all, Jesus calls the 72 to him, 72 people who had been following him, and he pairs them up and he sends them out to go do ministry in various places and towns. And then later on, they all come back and he talks to them about what happened, teaches them about their mistakes, and gives them ideas on how to do better the next time. That's what this new piece of discipleship that we're talking about today, training and releasing, looks like. Jesus also did this in the story of the 5,000, feeding the 5,000, if you remember. There's this problem. There's 5,000 men plus women and children that need to eat as Jesus is teaching them. And he kind of throws it on the disciples and says, man, guys, we've got a big problem here. How are you going to solve it? And so as you can see, this last piece, which is training and releasing, Jesus was very intentional about giving his disciples an opportunity to minister, and he trained them and he released them to do ministry.
That's right. And so how he would define that is you would basically take your disciple with you, teach them about what it looks like, have them watch you, and then you explain the discipleship process to them. Then you're going to release them to disciple with your help. So you're coaching them, and then eventually you're going to release them to where they can do it all on their own.
Exactly, and that's what training and releasing really is. It's us as intentional leaders, you as disciple makers, seeing someone that raises up as a leader in your group or as a person that is showing leadership, and then you take extra time to invest in them because God has chosen all of us, not just the people we call leaders, but has chosen all of us to make disciples. And so it's our job as disciple makers to train others to be disciple makers and eventually release them on their own to make disciples.
Exactly. And so how I would identify that potential leader is I would look for somebody that's interested in ministry and already doing ministry. And then the clue for you with that person is they're going to want more than just filling a need. They're going to want to go further. And so they're going to start asking you, well, hey, could I take so-and-so from the group? Could I take them with me when I go to do this thing this week?
Yeah, that's
or,
good.
What would it look like if we brought so-and-so along with us when we went to the hospital
Yes.
to visit somebody who's sick right now?
Yeah.
And so you're looking for that leader who says, I want more. And you're looking for that potential leader is going to say, hey, here's a need that's already being fulfilled. What if it could be fulfilled on a greater level if we had more help?
Yes.
And what if I could be the person that could help people come on board with this thing?
Totally. So you're kind of casting a big vision to them.
Yes.
As a way to kind of lure them in to getting a bigger mindset of becoming a disciple maker themselves. Really good. Something else we've talked about previously in videos is the idea of someone being fat.
Yes.
Being faithful, available, and teachable. And so as you're looking for that potential leader, you want to make sure, are they faithful? Are they faithful to the time with you? Are they faithful to church? Do they make themselves available for ministry opportunities? And are they teachable? Do they listen to you? Do they allow you to train them? And so that's a good way to also identify that potential leader. Are they faithful, available, and teachable? And then when you found that person that you think, God has placed this person in my life, they have the ability to be a leader, they're fat, faithful, available, and teachable. What do? Well, this is what you do. You intentionally begin to make more time for them. And you say, hey, I think you've got it. I really think that you can make a difference in other people's lives. And so what I want you to do is I want you to start watching me in our discipleship time, in our group time, and really pay attention to what I'm doing. And just watch them, let them watch you for a while, and then maybe take some time to talk to them about the things that are happening in the group. But the first stage is just let them know, watch me. The next stage is you give them an opportunity to do it with you. And so what you would do is, after they've watched for a while, you've had some debriefing time with them and explain the process of discipleship, then you allow them to do it with you. Maybe you allow them to tell the story. Maybe you allow them to ask some of the questions. Maybe it starts out as simple as, will you open and close in prayer today?
Yeah.
And so you just begin that process of them coming alongside of you and being a peer with you is really the idea.
Yeah.
And then the final stage is after you've gone through those first two stages of them watching you and them doing it with you, then you let them go and do it while you watch them. And so what I would do is I'd say, hey, Mike, you've been doing an awesome job helping me. Why don't you lead this week? And then you just let them lead maybe once, and then wait a couple of weeks and let them lead again, and then go through that process until you think that they're ready to be what we say is released.
Right, and once they're released, they have your support. So that means you're still interacting with them on a weekly basis.
Yes.
That means you're giving them phone calls, you're sending encouraging texts. That means you're meeting half an hour before group starts
Yes.
and having a talk about this person
Yep.
and that person
Yep.
and this need and that need. And then eventually you're going to release them to go and do it on their own, because they're going to be able to have people on their hearts that they want to disciple
Exactly.
further.
Exactly.
And so then you release them to go do that with those people. Maybe it's some of their friends. And eventually it's going to be people that you couldn't even disciple yourself. It's people outside of your network.
Yes.
And they're going to take those people and disciple them.
Yeah.
And it's going to go way beyond you.
Yeah.
And so that's what it means to release.
Yeah, and not only that, but to tie all this together, this is why we call this the Multiply blog, and why at church we talk about we have Multiply weekends, because that's the power of multiplication. Me investing in one who invests in another and another and another, and it just multiplies from there. So the last thing I want to say is, if you're a disciple maker right now, you should be doing this now with your people that are in your group. You should be identifying a leader, and you should begin the process of training and releasing them, because that's what Jesus did and that's what God wants of us. And so if you're a disciple maker, you should be doing that now, even if it's just small baby steps to something that's going to happen 6 months from now, a year from now, even 2 years from now. The process should be beginning now. And the last thing I want to ask all of you is that now that we've spent a few weeks talking about what discipleship looks like, would you just do me a favor and let us know, so that we can have some ideas of other things that we could talk to you about? What are some questions or hesitations that you still have about discipleship? Mike and I would love to spend some time answering those questions. And so please, in the comments below, just leave us a question or a comment so that we know what we can tackle in upcoming videos about discipleships, whatever your burning question is or your hesitations are. So let us know. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Have a great week.
Have a great week.